Hello, how are you? I am back again, and today I am waving around my Gucci bag because today I want to share how to authenticate a GUCCI Marmont handbag. Now, the reason I have picked the GUCCI Marmont is A, because I have it, and B, it's because it's one of the most kind of like copycatted Gucci bags out there, so I thought I would share how to authenticate and yeah, don't want you to get caught out, you know, when you're like, I don't want people to waste their money, you know, so I'm here trying to help. Anyway, the first thing that you want to look at is the hardware. Sounds very obvious, but it's a great place to start. So I've noticed on the copycat Gucci's, the G's are not very well defined. Some of them don't even have the G part. They look more like C's. Other ones have the G's, but they're not very well defined. If you look at mine, you can see that like here between the G's, the little thing here and the little thing here, it's very well defined, and that's what you're looking for. So you want your G's to really look like G's and be very well defined and just kind of like be the perfect shape of curve, be the perfect space between each other. You want to really examine the Gucci logo and make sure that like the proportions are correct. Proportions are really important when it comes to looking for fakes. So do look at the hardware. Then next you want to look at the clasp. So what you do to open the bag is you put your finger underneath the drop down bit, looks like a tongue. You put your finger underneath here, you lift up the little bit of metal, which will become a bit clearer when you see, and it will just lift off. So I don't know if you can see it here on the top, it just looks like a little ball fastening, and here you've got the square with the little bottom pushy up thing. That is how you open it, but that is what it should look like, so do look out for that. So when you are opening it, you literally can just clip it back in, and then to open it you push up and boom, it's there, open. And then finally the chain. The chain is an interesting one because normally on an authentic bag you want to be kind of looking for weight. Do you know what I mean? Like if you have a thin, cheap, lightweight chain, that's usually a sign that it's fake. And if you have a heavy chain, it's usually a sign that it's real. Feel the chain, feel the weight. See if it's got weight, and if it has, that is a very good sign. Also give it a smell. It smells like nothing. That's a good thing. If it smells like metallic and like you know when you're like, if it smells metallic, that's not a good thing. If it smells like nothing, that's a good thing. Anyway, and then finally, how does it sound? Mine sounds like this. Quite a nice sound. Does that make sense? Whereas if it was fake, it would probably sound quite tinny. This sounds almost like marbles rubbing together. It sounds quite nice. But yeah, if it sounds tinny, that could be a sign that it's not real. So, you know, just putting it out there. Hardware is important. So yeah, check that hardware. Okay, next one, we're going to talk about the leather quality. The leather quality is lovely. It's soft, it's tactile, it's smooth. It's like buttery soft without feeling too fragile and delicate. They've done a really good mix of like making it wearable but feel good, but also not making it so that you have to baby your handbag. If I compare it to like the Chanel lambskin, it does feel not quite as buttery soft, but almost like less fragile. Whereas if I compare it to something like Michael Kors, it feels like the softest, most buttery leather in the world. Like it's a really nice mix of feeling really soft, really lovely, really tactile, just good all over, like good on the front, good on the back, good on the strap. It feels really, really good, but it's not so soft that it feels like butter and it feels like it's gonna damage quickly. Like I can do this, but I wouldn't do it hard. Whereas like the Chanel bag, I would go nowhere near with my nails. Yeah, does that make sense? Sorry, some of these things, it's like, it's very hard to like, I really just want to reach out and give you my handbag, not to keep, and like let you feel it and explore it for yourself. Anyway, I'm doing my best. Do you know when you're like, I'm doing my best to like show you on camera? Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about is the stitching. The stitching is beautiful. The stitching is perfect. I actually got my ruler out and I measured, and on the quilting there is about 3 stitches per centimetre. On the fake ones you will sorry, that's my phone. It's That's my dad. On the fake ones, you will tend to find that the stitching is a little bit further apart. It might not be as neat, and they will cut corners by like maybe doing some quilting but not too much. In terms of the quilting puffiness, it's not overstuffed, it's not too flat, it's just a really nice amount. Some of the fake ones will either be too flat or too puffed, do you know what I mean? Like too cushiony, too overstuffed, or even an uneven stuff. This is a good puff, a good stuff, just saying. And then also it's important to look at the heart on the back. Now this is very important because it's got the quilted heart, it's very beautiful. Also all the lines, so perfect, so even, so beautifully done. But the quilted heart has a very pointy bottom to it. That is a sign that it's authentic. Apparently a lot of the fake ones have more of a classic kind of like heart which kind of intersects like this, you know, like which would stop kind of like a few centimeters up and be more of like a that kind of heart, as opposed to like the pointiness of the heart that this one has. So do look out for that. And also I did a blog post, so if you want to look at the photos and really examine them, feel free to click on the blog post and really like zoom in, as opposed to just look at this video. But yeah, you want to look for a pointy heart at the back. But yeah, generally the stitching should just be really beautifully done, beautifully constructed, you know. It should feel like everything is finished, you know, like even on the inside it's just beautifully stitched, and like there's like nice finishing stitches at the corners. It's just well stitched, you know. You've got to appreciate a good stitch. And if that sounds crazy and you're like not really kind of getting what a good stitch looks like compared to a bad stitch, if you have any designer bags like your Chanel, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, that kind of thing, and you compare it to something which is a little bit more high streety, then do have a look at what their stitching looks like compared to something top tier. Because yeah, every line, every corner, every finishing detail will just be just so. Does that make sense? So yeah, look at the stitching, feel free to get a ruler out. But yeah, the stitching should be perfect. It shouldn't be too puffy, it shouldn't be too flat. It should be just right. Next up, we're gonna look at the logos and branding. Now we touched on this before with the front logo. It should be the perfect proportion. Do have a study of the website. Do really get familiar with the Gucci logo, with the curve, with the spacing of the two G's, like with how it intercepts at the top, how it intercepts at the bottom, how the interception of these G things happen. Like you really want to get familiar with that logo and the shape of it and the proportions, the spacing, the thickness of the letters, all that kind of thing. Really examine it. It sounds silly, but this is where the fakes often slip up. So do check for the proportions because they should be perfect. They should be perfect. In terms of other branding on the front, you don't really have much. There's no branding on the eyelets, there's no branding on the back. Yeah, there's no branding on the press studs or anything. We're really just talking about the front branding here. On the inside, there's no branding on the press studs or anything, no branding on the inside of the eyelets, and no branding on the clasp bit here. However, there is branding on the inside. Mine has kind of like, I would say like a microfiber suede style lining, and it says Gucci. It's got the little R and it says made in Italy. It's like the most perfect rectangle. The Gucci is beautifully stamped. It's very even. It is embossed without like any gold or silver foil. The Gucci is like perfectly done. It's the perfect logo. Made in Italy is like perfectly done. The R is perfectly done, and you just are looking for that kind of perfection. And again, have a look at the Gucci, see how it's stamped in, look for the spacing between the letters, look for the font, look for it all, like look for it. You know, there are errors that come on these fakes, and it generally is those finer details. So really look for the spacing, really look for the lettering, everything like that, to make sure it's real. And also just like the general shape of the label. Mine is obviously kind of cut into the leather, and you just want to make sure that that is like the perfect shape. Like it shouldn't be a wonky square, do you know what I mean? It should be a perfect. Is it square or is it a rectangle? Either way, it's perfect. And then the zip pull actually doesn't have a Gucci on. It's very limited with the Gucci's on the inside. There is a zip pocket and a little slip pocket. The fakes often don't bother with the internal pockets because it's just more money. And then on the dust bag, which you should have, again, the fakes often don't bother giving you a dust bag because it's, again, a way to save money. It should be nice and soft. And then also, really interestingly, again, look at the logo on the front of the dust bag. It's got a label stitched on, and you should, again, check the spacing, check the font, check everything, really become familiar with the Gucci logo, because again, this is where they slip up. So you really want to kind of like look at this, scrutinize it, compare it to what it should look like. Look at the website font, look at all the pages on the website, and really like just know what it should look like and just measure yours up compared to theirs. The label is kind of like a Grosgain ribbon. It's got a black border, and then it's stitched only in 4 corners. This is very important because, again, often the fakes will be stitched all around because it's quicker to get a seamstress to stitch a big square all around, and it will often like not be quite that well finished. But this will usually be done by hand because it's like just like literally 4 little stitches. So I think generally that is done by hand, and yeah, it should just literally be stitched in those 4 corners. So you should be able to put your fingers through the label on the dust bag. So that is that. And then what next? And that's it. I just realized like we're done. So that is it. That is how to authenticate a Gucci Marmont bag. We're talking about the leather. It should be soft, it should be buttery loveliness, but it shouldn't be so buttery loveliness that it's like making you fearful. Do you know what I mean? It should just feel really lovely, really luxe, but also wearable. The branding, you really need to scrutinize that logo. You really need to look at the logo on the dust bag, on the inside, on the front. It should all be perfect. Don't be put off if there's not Gucci's all over the show. There's just not. Like, they haven't put it into every press stud. They haven't put it into like chain links. They haven't hidden it anywhere. They've really just gone for the one big logo, the logo on the inside and then the logo on the dust bag. They really haven't gone hard for like shoving it all over all the little press studs and eyelets. They just have not done that. So don't be put off. That is not a bad sign. It's just what they've done. I quite like it actually. It's like just simple, you know? It's simple. Like, we all know where it's from. They don't need to shove it everywhere. You know what I'm saying? The heart, look out for the pointiness, a very good sign. But yeah, it should feel good. Like, you should want to polish it. You should want to touch it. You want to wear it. And it's just like, it feels good. The brass should all match each other. Like, the chain should be the same color brass as the logo, as the eyelet. And it should always be like a really rich, lovely color. Obviously, some of the chains will be like painted pink, or they'll be black, or they'll be silver. But whatever it is, it should all match each other, and it should all be feeling lovely. And also, it should feel nice, it should smell nice, it should sound nice. It's all about those little like details, you know, like all that kind of stuff. Like, if it sounds like tinny, that's not good. It should sound like nice, luxy. You open it by obviously pushing up on the inside, and then on the inside here we've got the main pocket, a slip pocket, a zip pocket. It's a microfiber kind of lining. It's very like minimal. It's not printed Gucci on the inside. It's just plain. It's got the Gucci leather sewn in. It's embossed in Gucci. It's made in Italy. It's just really beautifully done. It's quite simple. It's quite subtle, you know. They haven't plastered the Gucci logo here. They haven't plastered the Gucci logos here. I quite like it, you know, it's quite minimal. The fabric, the quality of the leather, it's all just beautiful, and it sounds nice, it feels nice. You want to touch it. It feels luxurious. It doesn't feel tinny. It doesn't feel plasticky. It just feels good. But yeah, that's kind of it. That's how to authenticate. I hope that helps. Yeah, I have done a blog post, so feel free to refer to the blog post if you want to zoom in on anything, you want to close up. I hope that will also help. And yeah, Gucci, I love this bag. I think it's beautiful, it's fun, it's cool. I was worried at first that it wouldn't stand the test of time, but you know what, this bag's been out for years. It's still cool, it's still relevant. I still love it. I think it's amazing. They don't do this colour of pink anymore, but they do an amazing colour of pink. I will link that. And yeah, it's a great bag. It's a great bag. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.